There's an article today you guys can read if you'd like on 3, and it is entitled "Report Path Exists for Florida State ACC Exit Due to Omission in Grant of Rights." Now, I will cite that article. It's part of another article. But here's the gist of what was being written, okay? And, bear with me. I don't often read to you guys. Sometimes I do, but I don't like to chide. I don't want you to think I am. But, I get it. I know you guys are at work, or you're listening in the car driving down the road, or you're watching and you're not in a place where you can do this for yourself. So here you go. As Florida State keeps clamoring for more money and has now signaled their desire to leave the ACC if possible, a question remains if they can get out of the conference grant of rights, long deemed close to unbreakable. However, a high-profile sports lawyer, Tom Mars, proposed a radical scorched earth option for the Noles. Mars tweeted on Friday that the ACC grant of rights does not contain a choice of law provision, which would theoretically allow Florida law to apply to a dispute over Florida State. A choice of law provision would normally spell out the jurisdiction for legal disputes in which state laws governing the contract among multiple parties in different jurisdictions. They're fairly common provisions. Without that governing provision, the Florida State Legislature could get involved in a matter before the Florida courts and shield the school from liability. Final thing here. Assuming Florida law would apply to a dispute with FSU, the Florida Legislature could arguably do what Texas did to Mike Leach and make FSU immune from liability for breach of contract. As Mars alluded to, it would mimic a strategy that Texas Tech used more than a decade ago to protect the school from liability, with the state claiming sovereign immunity to avoid paying Leach. It's a bold, meta-level strategy for the Noles, circumventing the grant of rights by effectively having their state representatives and senators put up a liability shield for them. But with the seeming determination of Florida State to bail from the ACC for greener pastures, it might be a gambit the Seminoles leadership endorses. Brought up Rick McCullough, the university president, spelling out the situation from where Florida State sits. Not a pretty picture, all of those things. Brought up that Drew Weatherford, quote said, "I do think it's an existential threat, and this is just one board member speaking. Unless something drastic changes on the revenue side at the ACC, it's not a matter of if we leave, in my opinion. It's a matter of how and when. Not everyone may agree with that, but I feel very strongly about it because I don't want to play games. I want to go compete for championships moving forward. That's what Florida State is about. Unfortunately, we're in a situation where money matters more than ever, and you cannot compete without the resources necessary."
And, I think in that part of the Board of Trustees meeting, Drew was good to point out NIL and how that's another expense that you got to find a way to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So your costs are going up. The revenue gap's only growing. How the hell can that work? It can't. And that's why Florida State wants out. I just think that whether or not they could argue this, or whether the state of Florida could step in to defend Florida State University, all of these things, you show the force that you have potentially with private equity. You have this potential argument. I think it all is a tactic to whittle down the settlement number. Worst case. Best case, you have enough teams that just outright get together and say, let's disband this conference and be free agents and go on our merry way. That's the best case because it's free. But if you can't go the free route, every little one of these things that Florida State puts out there, be it a Board of Trustees meeting, the JP Morgan leak, this particular issue, I think what it does is it helps create leverage for you to get out cheaper.
Yeah, we've been saying for a while that we thought that's the ultimate goal. You're going to have to pay something. Just don't want to pay as much as we've heard. That number being somewhere in the neighborhood of $600, $700 million, maybe more.
Like, maybe this could actually work through the courts and Florida State's out scot-free. Maybe that's true as well. But it just feels like Florida State is loading up the cart and showing everybody and declaring, look what I'm putting in the cart today, so that everybody can see what they have and then act accordingly.
Yeah. Well, they keep acting in their own best interest. It happens to be very public. Everybody sees that, obviously. And as they witness it, they realize every day that goes by, Florida State's very serious. This is not just a gruff response to their disgruntled nature. This is a group of people who have decided we've got to have a way out. We have to have a plan. Some of that plan is now on display in a way that it hadn't been previously. It was just a conversation. Now you see actionable movements and or efforts, and it's I think it's reassuring if you're a Florida State fan. I think it's reassuring if you're a Florida State alumnus and booster. I think it's reassuring if you care about Florida State's future. I think this is all something you wanted to see. You wanted it to be more than just words. You wanted it to be more than just bluster. You didn't want it to just be, as the others in the conference who are upset at Florida State have called it, barking. You wanted it to have substance. And it does appear now that Florida State, somebody right at the beginning of the show said it looks like he was playing checkers. No, chess. You meant chess, not checkers. Looks like we're playing chess, not checkers.
It looks like. And I think most of the fan base in the last week or two, if they weren't on board that Florida State could actually leave, I think it swayed 85%, I don't know, it's a raw estimate, of people to say, oh, man, well, they couldn't possibly be talking this tough if they weren't willing to act right now.
Well, you can't walk it back, A. There's no coming back from this. You've told everybody who would listen that you want out and that you're efforting to do so. And, that this is what is the plan of attack. And
it's not a board post. You went on an official forum.
Yes.
You came on Warchant TV and then you went on your board of trustees meeting and did the same thing. So now you're on the record. Now, if we get to August 16th and nothing happens, that's their own issue.
Well, I don't know that it will or will not on August the 16th in terms of an official announcement and here's where we're going to go and this is how it's going to be done. They don't have to do that per se, although
if they declare to the ACC that they're leaving, everybody will know that has to be on the public record. Somebody will have it. You can't do that in a clandestine fashion. After all of this, you better take a vote publicly after all of this.
They may not, by the way, they may not even wait to the 16th.
Oh, that's all I'm saying is if we get there and nothing happens and nothing has happened, that would be awfully strange given all of the measures that they've taken to start this
and continue to take. And continue to take on a daily basis.
I mean, they did it a few months ago, but basically when the clock struck August 1st, they've gone nuts. Absolutely nuts.
This is all the benefits of being a Warchant subscriber, right? If you're watching right now, you can look along with me. You'll see Garnet and Gold, 10% off, special Warchant Days promos each month with exclusive offers for Warchant.com members, priority access and free gear at Warchant events. That's doing some things, right? Got to do it. Ask Warchant anything, subscriber-only shows featuring the entire staff, a little Q&A with the entire staff, and coming soon, a new mobile app with improved functionality and less ads. That's really a good thing. Join the largest FSU fan community on the internet, everybody, at warchant.com. It's not close. Let's go. Get it on. Sign up today.